Hey there, welcome to another episode of the Contractor Click podcast. Your host, Danny Barrera, with a very, very, very special guest, Mr. Lance Jensen from Integrity Garage Floors. Lance, what a pleasure and an honor to have you here with us. How's your day going so far?
Oh, fantastic, Danny. And thank you for having me. You know, one of the things that we try to do in business is have fun. We don't just try to have fun. We try to have a blast.
Yes.
And that's, you know, being with you and Maddie is always a blast. And so thank you for having me today.
Yes.
This is fun.
This episode is a treat and also one of our pillar content pieces here to serve you business owners. You could be a concrete coating business owner and any type of blue collar business ownership here. This podcast is the one you're going to want to save. So make sure that you like, subscribe to the channel, because we're going to talk about business culture and leadership within business culture. This is something that I've experienced as an agency partner to Lance and Integrity Garage Floors, as an agency partner with him doing business, but also I've witnessed how he leads his teams. And he doesn't just get people that want to work for him. He gets individuals that are committed behind a movement. And that's something I've admired. It's something that's influenced how we do business at Contractor Click from the standpoint of even revisiting our core values. So Lance, tell us a little bit more about who Lance is and how did you become this incredible leader? It's just amazing.
Yeah, a schmuck like me, right? No, I've been in business for a long time. I have 40 years of owning and running my own businesses. I'll tell you, at 64, it's a lot more fun. It's a lot easier than it was at 24. It's a true story.
Wow.
I've learned a few things over the years. But no, I think, a friend of mine once told me there's money in any business if you run it right. And I think that there's a lot of truth to that. It's just one of the things that I am truly blessed to have. I have this tremendous team of people around me. And there are 9 of us in the company. They are fabulous. We've got 6 techs who, of course, are the backbone. We have a wonderful office manager, and then we have a salesperson as well that has really taken a lot of that sales pressure off of me this year, which is fantastic. But I can't say enough good things about my people. You deal with them, you know them. I get compliments on the people that are around me. I get it all the time.
Yes.
And I don't think that I'm such a tremendous person that I have been able to attract all these wonderful people. I'm just another, pardon my language, but I'm just another mediocre goddamn schmuck, right? and I swear, if you lined up the 9 of us, right, and everybody was picking which ones would be their friend, I'd probably be the last one taken, right? I mean, these people are tremendous. And I don't think that I have attracted these people by force of personality. I don't think that I've attracted them because I'm such a natural, great business leader that, oh my gosh, the best people in the world are forced themselves to come work for me. I don't think that's it at all. I think we have gone about business culture, we've gone about it systematically, and we have taken we've taken this relationship with our employees very, very seriously. And how did we build that culture? And that's something that we've done systematically, and that I think has led to the success. Every business needs great employees, right?
Right.
And you go to some businesses and you're like, these people suck. Mm-hmm. And you go to other businesses and it's like, man, can I take these people home with me?
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
And so we think that there's been a method to the madness. We think it's been successful, and I'm really, really proud of this core of people who have built themselves around me.
Yes, and I can tell from the quality of the execution, and you work in an industry that, there seems to be a lot of, other companies that want to recruit talent of people, and your retention on employees and satisfaction is, top 10. You're right up here, and the individuals that we interact with, world-class individuals who are experts at what they do.
Yeah.
And more important than that is they're buying into what they're doing on a day-to-day, which I would like to say that is rare. We work with organizations that are ranging anywhere between crossing that first $1 million mark all the way north of 28 million. I can't say that everyone has that level of buy-in, but you have something special, and I would love to dive deeper into the system because it's interesting. And I'm going to kind of disagree here with you on the fact that I find you as an attractive leader. Like there's something that I'm like, anytime I hear you speak, Lance, I'm a student. I have a lot of respect and admiration, and I'm taking notes. So this one is for me, here. I've heard you talk about leadership and culture for a long time, but now I'm curious. Let's talk a little bit more about the systems and what is it that you've developed over the years?
Yeah, you bet. So I got some inspiration by a guy by the name of Dave Brailsford. He and Rupert Murdoch got together and they formed Team Sky. He was the manager of it. And these were the British cycling guys. And when they arrived on the scene, so Britain has a bicycling culture. Like it's flat, it's congested, lots of people ride bicycles. Right? Mm-hmm. So that's part of what they do. Now, they'd never won a Tour de France. They had one Olympic medal in the past 100 years. I mean, on a national competitive level, they sucked. They weren't any good at it, right? And so these two guys came together. Rupert Murdoch wrote the check. Brailsford then was the management skill behind it. And he came up with what he calls their core values. And so CORE is an acronym, mm-hmm. and it stands for commitment, ownership, responsibility, and excellence. And so by the time he's done with British cycling, they'd won 3 out of 4 Tour de France's. They cleaned up at the Beijing Olympics. And he's no longer Dave. He's Sir David Brailsford. Like this is, mm-hmm. Here's another schmuck off the street, right? And he was able to because he didn't race the bicycles, right? He was able to get people to race those bicycles and do it really, really well.
Wow.
And so I learned from this. Another one that I've really learned from over the years, who I just adore, is Kobe Bryant. Yeah. And Kobe Bryant had he called it the Mamba mentality, and that is the thing where you get better every single day. So those are two guys that have been really inspirational for me over the years.
Yeah, and as you start thinking about this, taking inspiration and applying it, let's dive a little bit deeper into getting into the actual core values of, how do you go about developing them? Because sometimes that may feel a little bit abstract. You got guys that are just taking the class, on how to start their own concrete coating business, or they're just, they have a desire to branch out on their own. There's no concept of what a core value is and how is it that you integrate it. Where do we even begin in that conversation?
Well, let's go through it one step at a time and talk about commitment, ownership, responsibility, excellence, and what it is. So the first one is commitment, okay? And this is where we hire, we fire, and you quit, right? Is at commitment. So when we go to hire somebody, we don't look for a skill set, we look for commitment. And not only do we ask, can this person be committed to us, but then we ask, can we be committed to that person? And it's a really, really important part, and that's where you start. So committed to what? What does that mean? Mm-hmm. Okay. So first off, as people, we're committed to each other. Have you got my back? Have I got your back?
Right.
Okay, that is, we're committed to each other as people. We're committed to the organization. That doesn't mean that, hey, we're committed to making the boss more money.
Right.
That's part of it. Okay, and I mean, making money,
It's part of business.
we're not here just for fun.
Right.
And so we're committed to the organization. We're committed to each other. You're committed to working hard. And so working hard is part of what you need to be committed to, and we need to be committed to them, right? And so, and it means that I get to work hard too, right?
So good.
And I kid you not, I've got people that work they work their dick. They work hard. And then the last part of commitment is that we need to be committed to getting better every single day. So this Mamba mentality, and it's the little things, right? How do you climb a mountain, right? One step at a time. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And that is part of what we see as this commitment. So you're committed to each other. You're committed to the organization. You're committed to getting better every single day, and you're committed to working hard. And that is what we feel is commitment. And we think that's where we hire, we fire, and we quit, right? So when it comes, when I have an employee who is who becomes uncommitted, I've had people that have worked for me for years and have been very committed, and then attitude changes.
Right.
Maybe it's my fault, whatever it is, but they become uncommitted. Now that's a point where I fire them. There's also been employees over the years that I have become uncommitted to for whatever reason, right?
Right.
And so now that is where they should quit. I mean, this is a two-way street, and there's some, what's in it for me, right, as looking at the perspective of the employee. And, who wants to work for somebody who's not committed to you, right?
Right.
Life's too short.
Exactly.
Please don't work for me if I'm not committed to you.
Exactly. Yes. 1,000%.
So we're going to hire you. That's kind of on me, right? We're going to fire you. That's on me. And you're going to quit if we don't have commitment. And that's where, you're going to control it. I'm going to control what I can control. But we think that commitment part is really, really important.
I love it. Are these all spoken out of the very first encounter with a prospective employee? Are you leading in with, hey, this is our core values, and this is commitment, and this is commitment spelled out? And that's the first question. The second part to that, and then how do you consistently reinforce them as someone comes into your world?
So there's a couple of things that we do. So this is the first discussion with any, and it's not just employees, it's our providers.
You had that
right?
conversation with us, with me.
Yes. the first time Danny and I met,
right?
We get on a Zoom call,
right?
And Danny's gonna give me a sales presentation. So he starts into his sales presentation. I tell him, stop.
Yeah. It's like, we're going to stop right here.
Hey, it's my time, right? I mean,
right.
I own my time, right?
Correct.
You own your time, but you're taking up my time, right? And he wants to sell me something. And so, okay, are you good enough to work with Integrity Garage Floors?
Right.
I don't know. I don't know you, right? And so the first thing that I do is I explain the core values to Danny, and so to find out, hey, is this something you want to work with?
Right.
So what was your experience having learned that?
That was an epiphany moment for me. It's first as a leader, but also as a service provider. It's like, hey, this is something that I want to embrace in this relationship, but also let's rethink how we engage with our client. But in that specific moment in time, it's been the first time that someone that owns a business leads with, let me tell you a bit more about our core values and how is it that we operate in a business, and can you commit to working with us? How do you feel like you fit into this picture here? And you went through the story and how you came about the core values. But that after that conversation, right after I got off of that conversation, I went to Maddie and I said, Maddie, we are doing core values wrong. And so, because we did have core values, but I'm like, I'm doing core values wrong, and let's talk about it and let's learn. But at that specific point in time, it was realignment of expectations and behavior. And for me, it was a moment of reflection. At that point in time, saying, before I get to speak anything about business with you, you're sharing, hey, this is how we operate as an organization. And now I have that option of either buying in or saying, you know what, this is not going to be a good fit. So I appreciate that very much. And so that's why we're having this conversation here today. But it did make a big difference. And I remember that. And I shared that story with our team too. It's like it became part of our behavior internally. Yeah. How is it that we communicate with clients? How is it that we've disqualified prospects because of the same conversation? They don't even know their core values.
Yeah.
And they're like, what is that? And we're like, we probably, yes, this is the fourth or fifth agency that they come through in the last 6 months. We're not going to fix it if they don't have, an operating value system.
That's right. So that's the commitment side. I start with that with every employee. I start that with every producer that we deal with. We like to look at a relationship with someone like yourself as a partnership, and we think partnership is important with our customers, with our producers, suppliers, people like that. So anyway, that's the commitment side. Then what we're really trying hard to do now is have some people come to work for us part-time. And so with the pickleball courts, we need part-time people. Mm-hmm. And so we try to take them on part-time, and then we know when somebody fits in the culture and when they don't. And so, you don't have to work hard with somebody for very long to understand where the culture, where their cultural commitment's going to be. So, absolutely, I preach this. I do it to my employees have this recited. They're sick and tired of hearing about it. My family's sick and tired of hearing about it. And I'm going to keep preaching and keep doing it to the day I die. Absolutely.
Love it.
I'm committed to it.
Yes.
Okay, so the next part that we're going to move on to is ownership, right? So now, as the employer, I don't own my employees. Mm-hmm. I don't own their time. It's a really simple transaction between I'm going to give them some money and they're going to provide me some services. And it's really simple. It's not really complex. And so now once we get to that person who's committed, right, okay, now we ask them to own their job. So the old style of management is that we would tell employees what to do, right, and we wait around for them to screw it up, and we yell at them, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
It's a terrible way to be managed, but also it's exhausting as a manager.
Yes.
Now you got to go around and you've got to track down every last little decision. You got to make decisions for your people. Not a chance. And my people, one of the things that's great is the people that work with us mostly work remotely, right? So they're in a different, we're in 2 or 3 different homes every day. We travel about 100-mile radius from where our shop is. They're away. And I'm typically not on the jobs anymore. Mm-hmm. And so now when they'll call me up and say, okay, there's a problem. What do I do about it? And the discussion is, not I'm going to tell you what to do about it. The discussion is, okay, what's going on? What are the issues? How do we solve it? And they put in their opinion. I put in my opinion, and I expect to fight for my opinion, but I don't expect them to have to take it. Then at the end of the conversation, then they are empowered to go make the best decision. And if they screw it up, they screw it up. In the next part, we're going to talk about how we fix stuff. But you have to work. One of the hardest things as an employer to me is not fix it for an employee, right? Is just okay.
Exactly.
Here's my opinion. Here's what I think you should do. I understand you think you should do something different, and that's okay. And you're empowered to own it, because I don't own you and I don't own your job. I'm just going to pay you. And so that is the O in the core values, is ownership. You got to own your job. I've told you, you've come to me before and said, what do you want me to do about this? And I've said, well, here's what I like. Here's what I want. Here's what I expect.
Yes.
And then you've come to me and said, hey, well, how do you want me to do that? And the answer is, I don't know. I don't own your job.
Exactly.
You do.
Yes. And I
you've
appreciate
had the
that.
treatment.
Yes. Well, yeah, because there is what I love about ownership is given the opportunity for the person to show up and continue to show up. And there's a two-way. The way I see it is like two paths here. One of them is, if let's just say we recently introduced a new account manager to you a couple of months ago.
Yep.
We had this conversation, exactly what we're going through, and there's some internal decision making, and you gave us some feedback, which I appreciate and value. And based on that, I said, well, we got a couple of things to do. I want to make sure the next person that's going to be handling this relationship really owns up to this specific role and understands the outline. And, what happens in that moment is now I have another individual that's got to take ownership for that. As a leader, I'm responsible for conveying that ownership.
Yep.
But then you hold me accountable and you gave me very clear perspective. And the way I've seen that play out is, the buy-in is there, is the responsiveness, is the corrections that happen along the way. And the other piece here is, as a business owner, it's having the grace, and this is where I believe it goes back to the first thing, is commitment as an owner to not give up on that person, because you're going to need to support them, and then not blow steam and just get upset about them failing at it, but coming in gracefully and saying, I'm not going to give up on you because I see you trying. Now let's make sure we don't repeat that again. So that's the second piece that I've seen play out, and how it's impacted on how we operate as well.
Yeah.
So again, that's another one of the big ones, is ownership. And you show a lot of grace even in conversations, because I've modeled you in a lot of these things. You know the outcome you're looking for, but you're not telling the person, right? Which is great. You're clear on that. And you will manifest the outcome, but you will always work on the person owning the role. And that is how you scale yourself out of that position, which is a big one.
I have successfully gotten myself out of the micromanagement cycle by empowering the people around me to own their job. It's their job. The results are their job.
Right.
And I think that's something that's 40 years of running these little businesses right there.
Powerful.
Okay, the next one is responsibility. So R is responsibility. So if you're going to own the house, you got to pay the mortgage.
Exactly. That's the fun part.
You might be committed to owning the house, and you might own it, but if you don't pay the mortgage, you can't have it, right? And so the responsibility part is a big deal. And it starts with me, right? So I own my job just like everybody else in the organization owns their job, right? So one of my responsibilities is to make it rain. So that we have to have work to pay the employees so that they can get money, so that they can get what they desire out of this organization. If I don't have a job for my guys this day, I still pay them. And it's part of my commitment, and it's part of my responsibility owning my job. And I remember doing a call with you, and we had a number of other operators in home services businesses, and we were talking about that, and you hear them murmuring. But think of it this way. You're committed to somebody, right? You're committed to an organization. You own your job, and the company is going to pay you whether they have work or not because they're committed to getting the work.
Yes.
You want to work for that guy? You're darn right you want to work for that guy.
Exactly. He's not sending you home and not paying you for the rest of the right. You're committed to that.
That's right.
Your responsibility, owning it.
And so I think that's a really big part of how I've built this tremendous group of people, is being committed to them, but also showing the responsibility. Like, I am responsible for paying these people. And so the other part, we've broken responsibility down into a couple of other parts. One's called wrong and the other one's called fun. So let's start with the bad news first, right?
Yeah. I like it.
So what do you do when something goes wrong? Like, we're really organized. We're really on top of it. From an organizational standpoint, we've got a world-class office manager. And, I mean, we are organized and on it. But stuff still goes wrong, right? We deal in two-part coatings. We're in 2 or 3 different houses every single day. We're talking about people, not only people as employees, people as customers. We're talking about equipment. What could possibly go wrong, right?
Exactly. Driving, just getting out there, right?
That's right. We've had stories of the trailer wheel passing the car.
Gosh.
That's a bad story.
That's a bad story. We don't want those.
So if you're going to be committed and you're going to own your job, then you need a philosophy for dealing with of what to do when things go wrong. So if you don't want just the boss to fly off the handle and get mad at you when something goes wrong, you need to know how to treat it, right? And as the manager of the business, it is my job to empower my people to think for themselves when something goes wrong. So when something goes wrong, we ask who, what, where, how, why. Mm-hmm. The most important piece of this is the who. So who's responsible for this, okay? We don't ask this because, hey, Danny, something went wrong, you're responsible, now we're all mad at you, right? That's
right.
not
No.
the point of asking who. The point of asking who is to find out who's responsible so they can fix it so the rest of us don't make that mistake. Just our best story along this line, Javier and Ishmael pull into the lot, right? And the trailer is dripping with epoxies. Now, those of you who don't deal with two-part epoxies, this is like if you poured honey or syrup all over the inside of your trailer. It's never going to cure. It's just a horrible, filthy mess. So they pull in, okay? So now the first thing that we do when something goes wrong is you fix it. And I mean, you get on it and you fix it. And I don't care how hard you have to work. I don't care how long you have to work. I don't care what it costs. Like, you will never get grief from me about the cost of fixing something in this company. And
That's good.
We lose money on jobs because has gone wrong, and we have to fix it. So, and then the other is I don't care if I have to come down and help you, right? So I'm not going to volunteer to help you, but if you need me to help you, and at the end of the day, we're both on our jobs. We're going to figure that out. I never fly off the handle with like my customers, my people. Just personally, I'm just not a yeller. But if you want a good old fashioned ass chewing in my place, don't fix it when it goes wrong. Right?
Yes.
So we feel really strongly that that's the first thing you do is you fix it, minimal impact on the customer, get it done because something's going to go wrong. So now, once we have got it fixed, then we ask the who, what, where, how, why. The who is the person responsible for it. Now, Javier and Ishmael came in, so the first thing that they did is they fixed it, right? So they were out there for hours cleaning, right? Now they ask the what, where, how, why. And what happened is the bucket of epoxy got stacked on the top of a box. Then the lid was not secured on top of the bucket. Then they drove home. They went around the corner. The box tipped over. The bucket of epoxy went over, and the rest is history, right? So at the next employee meeting, we haul Javier up in front of the rest of us and said, all right, Javier, what happened? What went wrong? And how are you going to keep the rest of us from doing this? So Javier, explains this of, he'd figured out what had gone wrong. So now the new rules are the bucket of epoxy, we never double stack them in the trailer. We never put them on top of a box. They always go on the floor. Then when I don't care if you just pour a pint out or use half of it, whatnot, if there's still epoxy in it, you secure the lid and it goes on the floor. Now, if you secure the lid and you put it on the floor, it can't go wrong again. This is several years ago that this has happened, and we probably coat 400 garage floors a year. And this is several years ago. It hasn't happened again. And the other thing that Javier is responsible for is making sure that we don't make that mistake. So he enforces the rules now.
Wow. So good.
And I test them, right? So I will, I'll be out working with them, and I'll put a bucket of epoxy on top of the box, and it's like but here it is, right?
Right.
So he's committed to it. He owns it. He's responsible for it, and now he is enforcing those rules to make sure that I don't do that. Well, you get every single person every single day, and something goes wrong, and then they are responsible for making sure that it doesn't happen again. Pretty soon you're climbing the mountain, and you're becoming excellent. And so it's a matter of getting better every day. It's a matter of learning from your mistakes, and it's a matter of moving forward with that Mamba mentality of getting better.
Getting better, yeah.
And that's a big part of this.
So good.
The other part of responsibility is what I call fun. Now, I mean, I'm a fun-loving, playful person anyway, right? I mean, just that's part of my nature. But we feel like it is not an opportunity or not something that comes along every once in a while. We feel like it's your responsibility as an employee of Integrity Garage Floors to have fun and have joy in what you do and how you do it. And so, if you're having fun, say you make $100, right?
Right.
You make $100 and you had fun making that $100, or you made $100 and it wasn't any fun, right? $100 still spends the same, right? Still makes the same amount of rent. It just you can't buy any more or any less with either of those $100. But that $100 you made having fun's a better value.
Oh yeah.
it's a lot better value.
Yes.
So the having fun and the people around you having fun. Okay, so now, yeah, I'm having fun at my job, but I'm working with somebody who's grumpy all day. Okay, this is why we think of it as a responsibility, because it isn't just you who I need to have fun. Danny, you need to have fun so that I'll have fun. And so that's why we think about it as a responsibility. Every Tuesday morning, everybody's in the shop at 6:30. That's our one day a week that, everybody's there, right? And it is laughing and teasing and carrying on. And, if you don't have a stupid nickname, we probably just don't like you. And we really have a great time on those Tuesday mornings. And God help your soul if you show up late with a hangover, right?
Exactly.
You will be taken advantage of. But we think that fun is a responsibility because you're showing that fun to everybody else, and you're going to make them have fun. You're going to infect them with fun.
So, and you started off right from the top, from the start of the day. Are you measuring as a leader their attitudes? Are you constantly, or how do you infuse that, like your protocol as the business owner?
I don't measure it. I don't know how to measure it. I monitor it, right? Okay. So I'm aware of attitudes and stuff. We preach it a lot. Like I said, my employees, the people, my family, the people around me are all sick and tired of hearing it. That's fine. But we don't measure it. But we monitor it, right? And we keep an eye on things, and when somebody's not right, so yeah.
What's the meeting cadence? So you meet at 6:30 in the morning?
Yeah.
Do you have any other company meetings?
We used to do employee meetings quite a bit, and we've kind of stopped doing them. But so at 6:30 on Tuesday morning, all 6 techs are there most of the time. Sometimes we aren't working a Tuesday or we're going to work a Friday instead or something. There's times when not everybody's there. Our office manager is in and our salesperson is in, and I'm there, right? And we're committed to, I'm headed out on vacation, so I won't be there this week. But I'm probably there 45 Tuesdays a year. And so between 6:30 and 7, the guys are packing the trailers. I'll be out in the warehouse with them. Our office is part of the warehouse, right? So the office door is open, and we're going back and forth. They're coming back and forth through the office. And then we take a few minutes to talk about, just talk about some goals and things like that for the week, talk about attitudes and difficult customers, difficult jobs, what's coming up. There's usually a Tuesday morning prank.
Wow.
If you're
having fun.
If you show up late, you might get the pink watch. We have a
Oh, that's how you came up with the pink
we
watch?
Have a pink watch.
It.
Hey,
yes.
Everybody was starting to come in a little later on Tuesday mornings. And so instead of standing there and yelling at everybody that, hey, it's Lombardi time, right?
Right.
What I did is I just got a pink watch. And the first morning we had it, I showed up late, and I did it on purpose. And then I took the pink watch. I wore it for a week,
Wow.
And then the next week, the last person in, we stuck it on. We did it a couple of times, and we wore it out, right?
Okay.
And so we hung it on the deer horns. But no, and through that, people are pretty much on time now, right?
Wow.
And so... And then one of our famous pranks then, so Eric, our office manager, always shows up on time, right? And so I called all the guys up and said, hey, everybody show up early next week, and the rules are the last person in on Tuesday morning gets the main
Yeah.
lock.
Wow.
So we all showed up early. She showed up on time. We stuck the main lock on her. So, that was something that we, that's the kind of pranks that we play and have fun with. But
That is fun. That's amazing. Yeah, that's fun.
So now to put this all together, okay, so you're committed to your organization. Your organization's committed to you. You are committed to working hard. You're getting better every single day. You own your job. Your job doesn't own you. The boss doesn't act like you're a slave. You own your job, okay? Your boss also owns his job, right? So we know where to stay in our lanes. You're responsible for your job. Your company is responsible to you. You know what to do and how to act when things go wrong, okay? You're having fun doing it, all right?
So good.
Now, if you have that all put together, you cannot help but be excellent.
Yeah.
I mean, you just have to be. And that's how you take a person like I'm not an above average person. You could ask my school teachers from when I was a kid, right? I don't think I'm an above average business owner. I think that I have empowered very successfully the people that surround me to be great. And that's something I'm very, very proud of. We coat more garage floors than anybody else in Washington State. We have the best people in the business. And this core values is exactly how that's been accomplished.
It's incredible. I've been through a lot of business training over the years, different coaches, mentors I'm grateful for. The way you've delivered this in a very systematic way is very applicable. What's coming up for me and what I've learned over the years is refining the delivery of the structure and how you've gone back into even having people own and explain how are we going to own when something doesn't go right, and going back into, okay, well, you got to make sure you fix it, right? That is the wrong side. Who, what, where, how, and why.
Yeah.
And this becomes almost like a self-correcting culture where behavior is self-corrected instead of enforcing.
Yeah.
And that's something that's really standing out to me in this style of management. If you could tell me, are you how involved are you in the management? Do you have team leads? What does your organizational structure look like?
Yeah, you bet. So we have a salesperson, right? So if you start from the seminal point with the customer, right? We have a salesperson. I've always been the salesperson until this summer, and we got blessed with just a dynamite one, right? And so he's come on. So now the lead comes in, whether that's a referral, if it's a lead that you've gotten for us, wherever it comes in, that gets funneled to Audie, right? Now, Audie takes that, he puts it onto the calendar. We use the Google Calendar to organize our business. That goes on to the calendar. Next, that is, so now that gets to the people that are working, so the techs, right? So you come in at 6:30 in the morning, you pack the trailers, you've got it organized as to what is going to go on today, right? And so you know what color the floor is, you know how big it is, you know what the customer is paying for it, you know what the address is, all of that. You got phone number, right?
Right.
So now you drive off and you get there and it's the wrong address, or it's a place that Google hasn't found yet.
Right.
So we often work in new home developments, right? You got the phone number, and you are empowered to call the customer. Right? I expect the techs to contact the homeowner directly. We tell them that in the sales process. You got to have your number on here because in case they get lost,
Yeah, of course.
And it's something we learned the hard way, right? And so now they go and they do the job, right? So we've got a lot of experience now, right? And we expect that we can do so many square feet in so long, and it takes so many crew, and we're pretty good at delivering on, understanding what the job is going to expect from us. Now, there's a couple of things that happen is our guys they measure the concrete, right? So concrete, it seems weird to somebody who doesn't deal with it every day, right? But every single piece of concrete's different. There's different hardnesses, there's different porosities, there's different moisture levels, there's different uses, there's things like this. So our guys go in, they measure the moisture, they measure the hardness, they measure the square footage, and this all goes back on the original paperwork. They write it down on the paperwork. Who are the techs involved, right? And so that all goes on to the piece of paper that they printed out in the morning from the Google Calendar to get them there, right? They take a picture of that. They send it to Erica, our office manager. Now, Erica takes it, and she gets all that information onto the invoice, right? So, and our typical jobs are one-day jobs. And so she gets all of that information. So when you get it back, the hardness of your concrete was a 5, right? You know that the moisture was a 4. You know that Javier and Ishmael worked on your garage floor. And that's all on the invoice. And then that goes out about noon, right? So what we do is we show up on time. We show up at the right place. We get the measurements and everything correct. Then we get the invoicing correct. Now that goes off to you that day. Next day, sometimes there's a little variable in it, but then you get an email back from us, right? And the email says, dear Joe customer, we love you. Thank you for working. Thank you for choosing us, right? You got options. And here's your warranty information. Here's your care instructions. We leave them a bottle of Simple Green so you use Simple Green. Everybody's concerned about how are they going to care for this lovely thing that we created, right? They get that. And then also Erica takes the time to make a Facebook and an Instagram post of your job. So we have before, during, after. We use Company Cam. And so now Erica makes that post of some before, during, and after pictures of your job. So the next day so now we took the order, right? You got dealt with in the sales cycle with professional sales, right? So somebody professionally did a good job with your customer service. Then a crew showed up, and they showed up on time. Now they did the work. You got invoiced correctly and on time. Then you get a wrap-up of, hey, thank you, we appreciate it. Here's the Facebook post of your job. Here's your care instructions. Here's your warranty. Please leave us a Google review, right? It's important. And viewing and commenting on the Facebook posts, is important. And this is where the customers get to partner back with us and help us as well. You wrap that up, and now you're looking, okay, I got dealt with professionally. I get dealt with by good people. They showed up on time. They did a good job. I got invoiced correctly. They got my care instructions. They got my warranty. And I never even talked to the owner, right? And that's how we've accomplished what we've accomplished. And it really has been the owner of the company empowering great people to do great things. It's not been me going down and doing every single job. And getting to work with the people that I work with is just it's just a joy and a pleasure.
Wow. This has been a world-class conversation, Lance. Thank you so much for giving us your time here and hearing your story. And anyone that's out there listening to this conversation, whether you're just starting out or you're running a business and you feel like it's running on fumes because you can't get the people right. And I want to encourage you to make sure that you listen to this podcast, take some notes. Do you mind if some people borrow your core values as a starting principle? Would you mind that, Lance?
I could think of no higher compliment to what I've done.
Yes.
Is that if somebody emulated that would just be like, and you may have to filter them, but if you would like, you want to put me in contact with anybody,
Absolutely.
I'm happy to. I'm happy to.
How can people connect with you?
I would say connect with Contractor. Click and you. I'm going to put that on you,
Okay.
And then connect with Contractor. Click, and Danny will put you in touch with me. So
Perfect.
That would be the best way.
Thank you so much. And if you are also looking to start a concrete coating business, maybe you have a concrete coating business and you're looking for support, etc. You do have a division in your business that you support concrete coating businesses.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
I'll very unashamedly plug South Fork Concrete Coatings. South Fork Concrete Coatings is our company where we sell coatings to other applicators. It's in the garage space, right? So it's primarily targeted to solid color floors, chip floors, and metallic floors. We have a monthly 3-day training class where you actually get to go out into the field and work with our employees. It is the best concrete coatings training in the country. Nobody does it better. There's 2 days in the field. There's 1 day in the classroom where you have to put up with me. But we're very, very proud of that. And then we sell concrete coatings. So we sell epoxies and polyaspartics and chips and those kinds of things. We supply them, and then we back it up. So, when you purchase, when you purchase from us, then, I'm who you're going to deal with. And so, and I've solved not only our problems when things have gone wrong, but I've solved everybody else in the country as well. So, we're happy to have people come to our training. And I'm happy to work with people,
Yes.
when you have people that are just looking for some direction, technical advice, whatever it is.
Absolutely.
Come get me. I'm happy.
I will post a link here on the bottom in the description if you want to learn more about the Concrete Coatings Division company here. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at Contractor Click, and we'll get you in touch with Lance. Other than that, make sure you like, subscribe, leave us a comment. Let us know what you took away from today's episode. This is Danny Barrera. Any last words of wisdom before we wrap it up here?
Danny, thank you very much. You know what? I am having a blast.
Yes.
And I think this is wonderful, and it's really fun to share. So
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. We'll see you in the next one.